Good evening, everybody. Pardon our delay in getting started tonight. We had a very good joint session with our Human Services Committee. So welcome to our Covington City Council meeting for Wednesday, November 12th. In compliance with state law, City Council special and regular meetings are being held in a hybrid format with in-person, telephonic, and virtual options for public viewing and participation. With that, we'll call this meeting to order. And Krista, if you could please call the roll.
Councilmember Soltis.
I'm here.
Councilmember Porter.
Here.
Councilmember Hartsock. Councilmember Harjahausen.
Present.
Councilmember Samomo.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Here.
And Mayor Wagner.
Here.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you, Krista. I'd look for a motion to excuse Councilmember Hartsock, please.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded to excuse Councilmember Hartsock. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Debbie's been excused. Thank you. If everybody could please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, you're the only one who could have reached that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The eagle is supposed to out. So, all right, thank you. With that, we'll move into approval of the agenda. Regan, do we have any changes tonight?
No changes tonight, Mayor.
Okay, look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Been
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda has been approved. We do not have any public communication tonight, so we'll move into our first of two public comment periods. Speakers will state their name, organization, and whether they are a Covington resident. Comments are directed to City Council, not the audience or staff. Comments are to be related to city business. Comments are not intended for conversation or debate and are limited to 4 minutes per speaker. For attendees participating by Zoom, please click the raise hand button. For attendees participating by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand. Once the city grants permission to speak, press unmute in Zoom or dial *6 to unmute by phone. Please note, campaigning for any ballot measure or candidate at City Hall or during council meetings, including public comments, is prohibited by state law RCW 42.17a.555. Is there anybody in the audience wishing to address council this evening? Is there anybody online wishing to address council this evening? Please raise your hand. Seeing nobody approach the podium and nobody to raise their hand, we'll close this public comment. There'll be a second opportunity for public comment towards the end of our meeting. Next, let's move into approval of the consent agenda, items C1 through C7. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda has been approved. Next, we have our first of 3 public hearings. Get to that page. Sorry. All right. Tonight, we have a public hearing to receive testimony from the public regarding the Puget Sound Regional Fire Authority 2025 through 2031 6-year capital improvement plan, 2026 fire impact fee schedule, 2026 mitigation and level of service policy, and related comprehensive plan amendments. This being the date set and proper notices having been posted and published in accordance with state and local law, public hearing is hereby declared open. And Selena, are you giving the report?
I am. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's that time of the year where we're looking at our impact fees that we have with our partners. So the first one, the first public hearing we have tonight is our impact, or is related to our fire impact fees. And I want to just take a brief moment and clarify what those fees are and how they differ from development charges. Okay, so impact fees are one-time payments collected for new development that help fund capital facilities that are needed to maintain, for in this case, emergency response with this service levels as our community grows. Okay, so it's a proportionate to the growth of the communities. These are one-time charges. So where Fire impact fees are a little bit different, is that they consider these capital costs, which we'll talk about in the other public hearing around brick and mortar. So fire impact fees can be used for like long-term physical assets. So it's their brick and mortar improvements. So if they want to build a station or improve a station, their apparatus fees related to that, land acquisition, and in the fire's case, also the apparatuses, the engines and the ladders that they use to go do the levels of service calls. So they can't be used for salaries. So they can't use this money for salaries. They can't use it for training. And it has to be related to that capital service need. So tonight's public hearing is over the adoption of that 6-year improvement plan. And why we do this is, first, we have to ensure that our long-range planning aligns with the fire's planning, right? So in our comprehensive plan, we adopt their levels of service and their capital needs as related to Covington, since we're within their district. And so by adopting this document, that brings our comprehensive plan into compliance, and it also allows them to be in compliance with the service that they provide Covington. So this updated plan for the fire, and they're generally here to talk too. This continues to focus on maintaining and expanding their facilities to meet those growth-related needs, as you've probably read through the document. And they're continuing to look at their facilities such as Station 86 and 78 to continue to maintain their levels of service in Covington. So what's different though in this impact fee than what we've seen in the past? And mostly it's that we no longer will have a flat rate fee for single family residential and multifamily residential, which is what we've seen in the past. They're moving to a per square foot fee. And we're going to see this. We did this with our parks impact fee. We'll be doing this with transportation in the future. They're doing that because under the new state legislation related to middle housing, there was some changes that were related to impact fees and ensuring that impact fees are proportionate to the type of housing that's being proposed. So the idea is that a single family residential is very different than a 3-unit attached townhome. Those fees have to be proportionately calculated based on that. That's in the state law. We're all moving that direction. So that's what they've done in this update. So they're aligning that to ensure that they better can make those adjustments to be compliant with the state law. So other than that, this is an impact fee that we've had for a very long time. Again, it's issued at the time building permits it's collected the time building permits are issued. And so staff just recommends moving forward with the adoption of this ordinance.
All right. Thank you, Selena. Ground rules for public comment during the public hearing are as follows. When your name is called, step up to the microphone, give your name, and state whether you are a resident of the city of Covington. Please limit your comments to 4 minutes. City clerk will set a timer that will go off when your time is up. Is there anybody in the audience wishing to address council during this? Is there anybody online wishing to address council? Please raise your hand. All right. Yes, Deputy Kelch.
Good evening, council. At first, just like to apologize that I'm not able to be there in person tonight. I had a scheduling conflict, but I did just want to make sure that you're aware that I'm available for all questions. And I know sometimes when we get into impact fees, both from the council and from the community, there can be lots of questions on clarifying things. So I just wanted to make sure that you're aware my office is always open. I am happy to have these conversations either over the phone or in person with you if any further explanation is needed on anything.
Great, thank you. All right, is there anybody else wishing to address council? Okay, with that, seeing nobody anybody else raise their hand or approach the podium, I'll declare the public hearing closed. And with that, does council have any questions that they'd like to ask? All right, seeing no questions, then does council wish to take action? Before us is a ordinance in substantial form. Is that attached here to adopting the updated Puget Sound Regional Fire Authority 6-year capital improvement plan for 2025 through 2031, the 2026 fire impact fee schedule, and the 2026 mitigation and level of service policy, and amending the capital facilities and utilities element, the appendix, and existing conditions report of the city's comprehensive plan to include the same. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's moved in second. Beth, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yes, I appreciate that this is a requirement, so we're kind of locked in on that, but also one of the questions I had in my head, looking at it on the sheet, I appreciate that a 2,000 square foot building will be rated differently if it holds one family or 3 different units into it because of the complications, I imagine, of access. So I appreciate the thoroughness of the fees. They seem to make a lot of practical sense as well. So that's about it.
Thank you, Beth. Jennifer, would you like to speak to your second?
Agree. I appreciate the thoroughness and the amount of information that's available here for our review, and appreciate the service even more that is provided with respect to these impact fees.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer. Is there anybody else wishing to speak for or against the motion? All right, it's been moved and seconded to pass an ordinance in substantial form is that attached hereto, adopting the updated Puget Sound Regional Fire Authority 6-year capital improvement plan for 2025 through 2031, 2026 fire impact fee schedule, and the 2026 mitigation and level of service policy, and amending the capital facilities and utilities element, the appendix, and existing conditions report of the city's comprehensive plan to include the same. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ordinance passes. Now, second part to this is we have before us to also pass to incorporate the 2026 fire impact fee schedule into the 2026 fee resolution as adopted by the city council. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Sean, would you like to speak to your motion?
Kind of like what Beth said, in order to actually, do what we just passed, we need to move it into our fee schedule. So, fee schedule for the city. So it just makes sense.
Perfect. Thank you, Sean. Jennifer, would you like to speak to your second?
Hey, same. I mean, to collect the fees for the impact fees, we need to change our fee resolution. So I fully support this motion.
Thank you, Jennifer. Is there anybody else wishing to speak for or against the motion? All right, it's been moved and seconded to incorporate the 2026 fire impact fee schedule into the 2026 fee resolution as adopted by the city council. All those in favor state aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you all very much. And thank you, Deputy Chief Kelch, I'm pronouncing that correctly, Kelch, for being online. All right, let's move into our second public hearing. Tonight, we have a public hearing to receive testimony from the public regarding the Kent School District 6-year capital facilities plan for 2024, 2025 to 2030, 2031, and the 2026 school impact fee schedule and related comprehensive plan amendments. This being the date set and proper notices having been posted and published in accordance with state and local law, public hearing is hereby declared open. And Selena, is tag you're it?
Yep. All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. As part of this public hearing, I also want to clarify what school impact fees are for. These are also are one-time charges paid by residential and multifamily developments that help offset the cost of additional classroom space needed to service the new students. Under state law, these impact fees can only be used for brick and mortar projects. So things like school construction, classroom additions, site acquisition, they cannot be used for teacher salaries, classroom materials, computers, or other operational programming costs. Okay. So tonight's hearing is to adopt the Kent School District's 6-year capital plan as shown in Exhibit A. We collect these fees on behalf of the district year over year. As you will see, again, this year they are aiming for no new major schools are proposed in this cycle, and they are also recommending that there is still a 0 impact fee for this. So they're still recommending 0. If you took some time to read through the document, a lot of this has to do with that the district's capacity remains low. Right now, they're finding that their 2025 plan finds sufficient space to service the students that are estimated to be in the Kent School District. And while they're expecting a little bit of growth, it's not enough to warrant the need for those additional services. So because of this, the district recommends continuing the $0 impact fee. And you can see that the plans, the tables in the plan show where they've been applying for state funds and other dollars to help facilitate their facilities costs. And some of those key factors and why it's still a 0 this year is that their enrollment is declining and hasn't been increasing. Existing facilities can handle foreseeable growth. They have bond and levy funding continues to cover modernization and maintenance of those facilities. And they are looking at potential new bond may be considered in 2028 for future upgrades. So, and we can talk a little bit more about why 0. I know the council tends to want to talk about that a little bit more. I'm happy to dive into that. But ultimately, the staff recommends that we adopt the capital facilities plan for the Kent School District as presented tonight. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you, Selena. The ground rules for public comment during the public hearing are as follows. When your name is called, step up to the microphone, give your name and state whether you are a resident of the city of Covington. Please limit your comments to 4 minutes. The city clerk will set a timer that will go off when your time is up. When the timer goes off, please wind up promptly. Is there anybody in the audience wishing to address council concerning this public hearing? Is there anybody online wishing to address council? Please raise your hand. Seeing nobody approach the podium and nobody raise their hand, I declare this public hearing closed. Does council have any questions for Selena on this item? Right. Then before us, council, is potential to pass an ordinance in substantial form as that attached here to adopting the updated Kent School District 6-year capital facilities plan for 2024-2025 through 2030-31 and the 2026 school impact fee schedule and amending the capital facilities and utilities element, appendix, and existing conditions report of the city's comprehensive plan to include the same. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Was that Christina that moved? Christina, would you like to speak to your motion?
Sure. While the Kent School District does have many needs, this is a brick and mortar requirement. And the numbers speak for themselves. You know, the enrollment is staying at level and hopefully in the future, maybe something changes as far as enrollment goes and we won't see that 0 impact. But for now, I support it.
Thank you, Christina. Jennifer, would you like to speak to your second?
Yeah, I mean, I have thought it was strange that it's been 0, but I mean, I get it. The enrollment's been declining steadily since COVID and they are tracking Lake Point. Those numbers are in their projections, which makes it even more surprising to me. But I do know that the Covington schools after the boundary relining them, reboundary, whatever you call it, it definitely shifted things around and made them a little more balanced. So I will support this motion.
Is there anybody else wishing to speak for or against the motion? I just want to say, going off what you said, Jennifer, they are tracking Lake Point. I met with Superintendent Vela, and there is capacity, because I asked, there's capacity at Cedar Valley, Crestwood, Cedar Heights, and Kent Lake for what is scheduled projection. Now, if it blows, then you know the population blows up more than expected, then they can make adjustments. All right. Anybody else wishing to speak for or against the motion? It's been moved and seconded to pass an ordinance in substantial form as that attached here to adopting the updated Kent School District 6-year capital facilities plan for 2024-25 through 2030-31 and the 2026 school impact fee schedule and amending the capital facilities and utilities element, appendix, and existing conditions report of the city's comprehensive plan to include the same. All those in favor state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ordinance passes. The second part to that, we have before us to incorporate the 2026 school impact fee into the 2026 fee resolution as adopted by the city council. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second,
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Christina, would you like to speak to your motion?
Part B. I support.
Beth, would you like to speak to your second?
same as prior, we need to have it adopted officially.
Great, thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Been moved and seconded to incorporate the 2026 school impact fee into the 2026 fee resolution as adopted by the city council. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you all very much. Let's move on to our third public hearing. Tonight, we have a public hearing to receive testimony from the public regarding the proposed fiscal year 2026 budget. This is the first of two required public hearings. This being the date set and proper notices having been posted and published in accordance with state and local law, this public hearing is declared open. Sorry, Selena, I'm moving it to Casey.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. There's no formal staff report with this public hearing. As you mentioned, this is just the first of two public hearings on the budget. I know Regan had sent you out the updated forecast that has the changes that we had discussed at the previous meeting. After the hearing's closed, I'm happy to go over the forecast again if you'd like, present any revenue options you may want to discuss, or just any continued budget deliberations.
Great. Thank you, Casey.
Thank you.
Ground rules for public comment during the public hearing are as follows. When your name is called, please step up to the microphone, give your name and state whether you're a resident of the city of Covington. Please limit your comments to 4 minutes. The city clerk will set a timer that will go off when your time is up. When the timer goes off, please wind up promptly. Is there anybody in the audience wishing to address council concerning the 2026 budget? Is there anybody online wishing to address council? Please raise your hand. Seeing nobody approach the podium and nobody raise their hand, I will declare this public hearing closed. Council, do we have any questions for Casey? All right, then I have a couple of things that we need to discuss. Going off of what Casey and Regan, so Casey brought up and Regan sent out. So I don't know, do you want to cover this, Regan, or you want me to?
Oh, you can do whatever. I just had a comment on, it would be really helpful if council could give us direction on what they want to do with the COLA. Cause that takes some time to, if there's going to be a change, to get that included in the budget.
So thank you, Regan. So with what you sent out about the, you and Casey went through and updated the salaries and benefits, lowered the inflationary factors from 6.8 to 5.5, and then 8 to 6% for benefits. And then you adjusted the annual COLA to a 3.6 for 2027, 2031. And then, so that's what's in the proposed budget, correct? Going with this.
That's along with the changes. So there was also the changes that we had discussed, the addition of the community care coordinator position at the 10 hours per week, the ECSJ administered event grant funding, the 10% increase to human services funding, and then the police officer as well. All of those are taken into account in the updated forecast that I sent out.
So that's in the, so that 3.6 COLA is in the updated forecast.
Yes, the 3.6 is just my projection, my estimate in 2027 through 2031. The COLA for 2025 is 2026, excuse me, is 2.715%.
And so what you're what we're looking at, direction that Regan you brought up, is are we good with staying with that, or do we as a council going off of the, do we as a council want to reduce that COLA? Is the question.
Yes, and in that changes worksheet I provided to council with some potential cuts or reductions. We put, I think it's 75%, 50%, and then 25%.
Correct.
If council wanted to reduce.
So, so right now in the budget, it's set at 2.715% is the COLA for 2026. Is council, so we need to give direction council on how we want to proceed. is council good with leaving that at the 2.715, or do we want to go? We have a thumbs up.
Yeah, I don't want to reduce it.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay. All right. Is there any questions on that? All right, so we're gonna leave that as what you have in the budget. Then also, and thank you, council. Then also looking at, so you've got in here the revenues, so we don't need to discuss that because that's, but we have the 4 decision cards that were added on. Now, these 4 decision cards are included in this where you're showing a deficit by 2031 of $2.7 million, which includes the police officer. So I know we don't have to make a decision on this tonight, so this is something that we can look at, but there's some options that were given to us is to go ahead and move forward with hiring that police officer now, which is approximately, 300,000. It's not quite, but that's what leads to the 2.7 million. If we don't hire the police officer right now, and we can bring it back to the 2026 council summit where we can discuss more thoroughly, because we might know what House Bill 2015 is. That reduces that 2.7 million out in 2031 down to
2.4.
to what is almost zero.
We'll pull that up.
It just reduces it for that first year, so it would just go from 2.7 to 2.4.
Right, for the first year, but so this is, the forecast is showing a deficit by 2031 of 2.7 million. Yeah, if we
Yeah.
don't hire it.
Okay, I'm sorry, I just pushed it out a year. It would be.
And no, we're not saying that's what's gonna happen,
Right.
chief.
Right.
I wanna clarify, because right now with these 4 decision cards, we're showing a deficit of $2.7 million by 2031, which is not prudent.
So if we do not hire the police officer, then that puts us at about 560,000 by 2031
In deficit.
in deficit.
Deficit,
Yeah.
okay. So if we wait and we do get approval for House Bill 2015, which is the sales tax, but King County has to get approval first, and there's a whole bunch of other things that could bring in roughly 700,000.
Right.
But this deficit also does not include Lake Point, but you can't count on Lake Point because
Yeah.
you could have a
It does not-
2008
yeah,
happen.
right. It does not include additional revenue that we project to bring in from Lake Point.
Correct. So once Lake Point gets on, that could reverse all these numbers, which means we're definitely gonna need more than 1 officer.
Well, we're gonna need more officers.
Yeah,
We're gonna need like
For sure.
3 or 4, and maybe a substation out there at Lake Point.
I will say with House Bill 2015, there are a lot of moving parts with that. So as we've discussed, we do plan to discuss that with the council at the summit in January. The mayor and I met with Senator Kaufman today. That's something we're pursuing there. That if the legislature would ease the requirements to be eligible for those funds. Because right now they're extremely difficult. There's been 2 counties and I think 10 cities apply for it. None of them were awarded. Some of them received conditional awards, but they still had to do more work for it. And there may be some changes to that law this next legislative session. So there's a lot of moving parts with that. I just want council to be aware that that's going on. I believe King County will be eligible for these funds within the next few months, which would make us potentially eligible. I say potentially because any organization we contract with for public safety services also has to be eligible. And so SCORE, which is the jail we use, they would have to go through that process to get eligible. And that's just something they haven't done yet. So a lot of moving parts to that. I believe eventually we'll be there sometime next year, but maybe not in January, ready to adopt it.
So go ahead, Christina, and then Beth.
I think we're all very excited and see the need and would love to jump on the opportunity. I think there were pieces of the puzzle that we didn't have information for at the budget. And now there's just we just know that there's more moving parts. I think it would be, like you said, prudent of us to potentially, I mean, we're not gonna get him right away either, and Lake Point isn't happening next year. Not that we don't need him now, but, I think we should wait until we just have more clarity, not, 10 years down the line, but until we have a little bit more clarity.
Thank you, Christina. Beth?
If not now, when? Because this is gonna be hanging over our head every single year. There will never be enough money until we get additional, I get, and like you said, with 2000, potential 2008, like, I don't wanna bank on Lake Point. It might come through great, but we do realize that, and I'm even looking at like a school resource officer, like those kids that have come to us and told us that they're afraid of of being in school. That's a problem, right? And that's just gonna cause bigger, more expensive problems down the road. And I just think we need to figure out a way to find the funds to support adding an officer. I mean, if we wait a few months, it's probably not gonna kill us, but we just keep pushing it, and I understand why. I understand the concern, I do, but I just don't think that pushing it down the road is going to help the problem. And if we need to start learning how to absorb it until things pick up, and then perhaps we can get another officer or patroller or whatnot, or I think, because I was talking with Regan today about it, in the summer when they aren't needed, they can patrol 4th of July. I don't know. I mean, there's opportunities there to kind of make it work, and then showing our students that we support them. Again, it's not my decision to say security or, school resource officer unless we decide that that's something, or chief decides that's something that's needed. I've said my piece there.
Thank you. Anybody else? Joe and then Jennifer.
We have been short 3 officers for a very long time. We are, if we add 1, we'll still be short 3, but we'll be 1 closer. One of the things I think we have a responsibility doing is ensuring that our city remains safe and remains the place people want to call home. We have been doing a lot with less lately, a lot. And I'd really like us to do a lot with more. I get it that this is $300,000 we have to find, and I know what the numbers say. We'll be in the red a lot sooner with this, but I believe we owe it to our residents to do everything we can to ensure that our community is a safe place and they can see it. I would really like it if King County gave us the 3 officers that we have already under contract that we've been paying for. I would love that, but unfortunately, King County is not going to do that. So I think adding this officer now, getting us that 1 step closer, and then who knows, maybe in a year, maybe in 2 years, we've got 2 of those officers we're paying for now that King County is withholding from us. But I think we have to do this, irregardless of what our fear will be 5 years down the road. I know we've seen that red. Every year at a budget workshop, I have seen that red number 5 years later. It's always been red. And we've always managed to make it work. I don't know how. We have some fairy dust somewhere that's been sprinkled on our budget, but I believe firmly that we will find that fairy dust again in 5 years and sprinkle it on, and we'll be okay. I think we owe it to our residents to make sure that they know we're trying to take care of them the best we can.
Thank you, Joe. Jennifer.
It's not fairy dust tax revenues.
No.
Let me just think it's fairy dust.
Casey, what if we drop the 3.6 to 3 average over the next 5 years in the forecast? And then what does that make the loss look like in 6 years? And then the second question, with 2026 being 2.715, what was 25, 24, 23, 22?
Or, COLA.
Mm-hmm.
I can't easily change it from 3.6 to 3. I'd have to recalculate that.
Yeah, and that's
So,
fine, like, we can get that later in
Oh,
an
yeah.
email, I think that would be totally fine.
But I can. Cool. So for 2022, the COLA was 6.28. For 23, it was 4.4. For 24, it was 4.6. Going back before that in 2021, it was just a little over 1%, but we didn't implement the COLA that year. I think that was right during COVID.
Okay, and those were the amounts implemented?
Yeah.
And what was this year's?
2025, or excuse me, 2024 implemented in 2025 was 4.51.
Gotcha, okay. Thank you.
So you'll bring back what it'll look like if
Yeah.
we did if you averaged
If I
out.
average it, where I got the 3.6 is that's just the average COLA over the last 10 years.
Okay.
Kind of something for me to use as an estimate.
So we as a council, or were you gonna say something, Regan?
Yeah, I just want to make sure, asking for you, so you're asking for an average COLA for what period of time?
That's in-
31.
For
Yep.
a 3.0 for the next average from 2000 to carry it out from,
Instead of 3.6.
yeah, from 27 to 31, what it would look like. And then just for, we as a council vote and we had 100%, almost 100% support from our businesses to do the B&O tax, which went to public safety. And that got eaten up by all the increases that King County brought forward. And that was approximately how much, Regan, that it took?
Well, it's almost assumed all of what we brought in, which is, it was just what, 1.2 million, I think is our increases. We project more than that receiving from B&O, but by, I believe, is it 2027, Casey? It's projected that all of our B&O will be consumed by police costs.
So, and if we did not pass that B&O tax, then we would be hurting in our general fund. We'd be looking at having to either,
We would be cutting a lot of programs and people, right?
yep, yeah, and that's not good. But we owe it to our community to find a way moving forward. Like Beth said, that we need to get at least one more officer sooner than later. And we can't keep just pushing it down the road. So, go ahead, Christina.
So I feel like what if we did that, but at the summit meeting or when we had, and I don't mean like, I don't want to kick the can down the road, like you said, that's, we all know we've needed this for forever. First of all, I would like to hold King County accountable to, I don't know why that's not even a conversation. We're already paying for them, give us the officer. But if we're, and I mean just several months, just for that clarity. Just for on my position, or no, or will
I
that
don't
not?
think we're gonna
impact
have
anything?
it in
You don't think so?
I mean, based on what Regan said,
Who
it
knows
sounds
what's
like they're
gonna
gonna be discussing it in the next session, which is through April.
Then,
No, through the end of, middle of March.
Yeah, middle
It's a
of
short-
March, it's a short session. That doesn't mean we can't apply for it. If council wants to move forward with it, we could apply for it in January. If the agencies that we contract with are not yet certified, then we could receive a conditional certification until those and contracting agencies are certified.
So then let's, because I know that's a big concern for all of us. So looking at these decision cards right now, we've got 4 of them that we're looking at. So is council good with having staff move forward with the addition of the community care coordinator position at 24,561 time using opioid funding and House Bill 1590 funds? Okay. The ECSJ administered event grant funding at 3,000 ongoing. Okay. And then 10% increase in human services funding at 13,650. So let's go ahead. We've got council consensus for those 3. So we'll move forward with that. The police officer. Are we good with waiting until our summit to further discuss it, but we have to make a decision at the summit of what we want to do. Are we good with that? Or do we want to bring this back in 2 weeks at our next council meeting to discuss the police officer? Is council good bringing?
I'm okay with January as long as there's a decision, but I honestly don't trust you guys. I feel like I'm the one that's like, come on, guys, like how long did it take us to do the B and O?
Right.
So we have to make a decision at the summit. Well, yeah, we can make the decision at the summit. It doesn't have to be the council meeting. Beth,
So I know that with that reductions sheet, potential cuts and what have you, like we've discussed a few of them, but how do we want to go about like? I mean, I did a dry run of cutting some things, right? And given the fact that we've consensused to the COLA at that rate, I found $100,000 savings, and then we have $75,000-ish savings in overtime that, right? So that's 175. And I don't know, is that included in the projection that you gave us, Casey, the potential savings of overtime? No.
No.
So we add that in. I mean,
Yeah, so, Beth brings up a good point, right? If we want to ensure a better forecast, and hire a police officer, we should cut something to make up for that.
Do we do that now or in January?
well, we have to do it before the budget.
So if council waits until there's offsetting revenue, then this doesn't need to happen right now. If we want to hire a police officer before we have offsetting revenue,
Right.
then we need to.
you need to make those cuts now to approve the budget and not wait until the summit in January.
Yeah. Or I can fix it as part of the budget amendment.
Yeah, we can do it. If
Oh,
council
okay.
wants to do it at the budget workshop, we can do a budget amendment.
The budget workshop? You mean the summit?
At the summit.
Sorry, yes.
Oh,
I was
no,
like,
it's okay.
what?
I was tracking you.
Yeah.
We,
I
I
mean-
generally do one budget amendment like at the end of the year, but I could, like, if you wanted to adopt the budget as is and then discuss things more in January, I could always bring a budget amendment back in February or something to remove those things from the budget.
This is a big ticket item.
I'm curious though, Beth, which items were you
Well,
thinking about?
I wasn't
That
sure
we-
about
we
the
can-
professional services. There were the two lines for finance and personnel. So they might be required. I don't know. I didn't know exactly what that was. So,
We wouldn't put it on there if it was required to.
I mean, will it make staff's life that much easier if we keep it and there's an efficiency to be gained without having staff do whatever it is these folks are doing?
Most of that is for consultants when we need help.
Okay. And then I cut the transfer to public art in half. I adopted the travel and training by 50%. Reduced the salary step increase from 4% to 3%. There's a Cheetah art class program, like they said, Cedar Valley now has their own in-school art program run by volunteers that wasn't around before. Again, I don't know since I'm not in that realm, but just thought. I cut the Princess Superhero meet and greet. I put park pop-ups down to 5 instead of 10, took off one of the family movies, either get rid of Kid Fest or Family Fall Fest, like do one or the other. I mean, whatever makes sense for cadence. So we have some regular events going on, but and then, I mean, obviously if we got more money and we decided we wanted to add it in, we certainly could, right? I mean, or get somebody to sponsor it possibly. Dropped one of the swim ins. The spooky swim in wasn't on here, but the April Fool's Day and the Summer Splash-tacular was. So I'm like, well, do we have a pool thing in the spring when there's less going on? And then the summer's got a lot of stuff. I mean, got rid of the logo wear and then the city, the web updates and add-ons, because you said we don't really need it right now. So again, that's an awful lot to digest and it's hard for people to really wrap their heads around it just for me verbalizing it. So I don't know if it makes sense to just give it to you guys and then more we talk about it at the summit maybe, or.
What was the total you came up with, Beth?
For everything that I cut, I came up with, I guess it would have been 8,000?
It's a lot of cuts for a small, I mean, I understand, but.
Oh, and the salary steps, yeah, oh.
Well, yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
I guess, and part of it is, I'm probably a little bit sensitive because, I've had these conversations with some of the folks. There are people losing their jobs. They have no health insurance, they have no income, and we want to support our staff for sure. I mean, every employer wants to give everything to their employees. People are having a hard time, and hopefully if things come in, I mean, that's not necessarily saying it's gonna be forever. I mean, this is the hard part of our job, right? It really, it's.
Can I ask this question? We have so many things that are capping, our pool is at peak.
Capacity.
Thank you. Our sports are at peak capacity, I mean, I'm not trying to tax our residents back into things, but these are extracurricular activities. What would it look like if we raise our rates by, I don't know, because there's a lot happening there. What if we capitalize, it just got a little creative and, and just raise our rates by $5? Cause that's not a one-time rate, that's a season rate, right?
Yeah.
$5-10, like, is that something we could explore? Because that's a lot of.
For like our aquatics and
Sure,
recreation.
I mean,
program,
yeah.
Athletics, we could do that. We typically do each year based on consumer price
Oh.
index and what they're doing. This year, we did not increase those. Partly because we didn't want to be too far above surrounding jurisdictions. But I can tell you, it's not going to make a dent in helping to hire.
That's what I was gonna ask. Would it make a dent or no? Is it?
No, I mean, it barely covers the program costs as it is, right? So, I don't know that, Casey, I don't know if you have a more sure number, but increasing athletics registrations.
It would just lower the subsidy that we already provide
Yeah.
for those programs.
So
Okay. Just trying to get creative.
I understand where you're coming from, Beth.
Yeah.
But we just had a human services meeting. Community center, stuff for our seniors to do, stuff for families to do. Stuff for our young adults, teenagers to do. So these items here, we at one time talked about potentially asking for sponsorships for our outdoor movies, like the drive-in movies. I mean, sure, it's $500 for a movie, that's only $2,000 it would bring in. Or whatever we wanted to sponsor, we might even be able to get a higher sponsorship for them, allow them to hand out. Like, I'm sorry, I think M&Ms because it's vitamin M&M. They get,
It's cause I told you.
well, no, I'm serious, at work, where it's like everybody, the first thing that goes in the candy jar, M&Ms, because it's vitamins. And someone else goes, no, it's vitamin coffee. But they can take the vitamin C for coffee. But they could take and put their business card or a label on the back of the candy and hand it out, like what Jennifer and I spoke about. I'm stealing your idea, Jennifer. But they can get up in front and go, as they go around from car to car, they can speak to them to do their business. That's something to help with
Like $1,600 a movie.
yeah, to help with that, with some of that cost. Now, the only thing is though, making sure that it doesn't create more work for staff by having that a sponsor.
So I can tell you, I love the idea of having sponsors for our programs, but it is a lot of work securing a sponsor.
Okay.
It's extremely difficult. Our staff spends a lot of time securing sponsors for different programs. That doesn't mean we can't continue to do it. Those are good ideas. I know those options are already available to sponsor those things. And if we don't have a sponsor, it's because no one stepped up to do it, not because we didn't.
Okay.
reach out to people, right? So,
Mhm.
so there's sponsorship opportunities. I suppose we could dedicate more staff time trying to secure sponsors. But it's also, it's a finite pool of sponsors that we hit up for every program and every event, right? And so they get a little picky and choosy about which ones they want to do, which is fair as well, so. If we had a larger pool of businesses to go to for sponsorships, then that seems more reasonable, but with that finite pool that we are always reaching out to, it makes that a little more difficult.
Okay.
I will just mention that generally we go over any revenue options that the city has available to them at the summit. I'm happy to talk about those that we don't have. We've kind of picked all that low hanging fruits that we could do. And I mean, kudos to you guys that you have always, like over the last 5 or 6 years, the things that you've done and put in place have kept us in such a really good financial situation that I'm super thankful. It makes it easier to do my job, but we do have still some options available to us, and happy to discuss those, or again, we normally do it at the summit also.
So is council good with, we already decided, it was thumbs up that we'll do the free decision cards, and then the police officer, we can look at Beth's suggestions on some of the things to cut, bring it back to our next council meeting, and talk about it, or we can just bring it back to our summit about the police officer, but that we will make a decision at the summit of what we're going to do instead of kicking the can down the road.
We're so good at that.
No.
So
No.
political.
No, we're not, no,
We've been
we
excellent.
need to do that. John,
I would like to see at the next hearing, Beth's, reductions as it's put, so I'm just putting my 2 cents in for that. So what does that do to the actual budget, and, what impact does it have on that 2031 deficit?
That 100,000?
Yeah.
If we made 100,000 reductions.
Beth, can you share, send it,
Yeah.
email Casey those items?
Yeah, it's electronic.
That way in 2 weeks, we can see those items and
Right.
Well,
look at that.
Beth can send it to me, and I can send it to you. So you
Okay.
get it.
And everybody can.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and I mean, just for, like, I'm trying to look holistically at, like, we have one big event a month, and then we have some small events, like, so we're still doing a lot, especially with the America 250, like, that's gonna be a big event in June that might take the place of something else that we have, so, I mean, and whatever other community.
So is council good bringing that back, at our next?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll bring back the police officer to continue discussions in 2 weeks.
If we make $100,000 free cuts, that leaves us at just over 2 million. And deficit spending in 2023.
But that also includes hiring a police officer.
Yeah, that would be.
Okay, does that take off overtime?
And that was, and then you add the overtime savings of 70,000, whatever, so it's 170,000, so then we're.
So it still leaves us at about 2 million deficit in 2031.
Well, that's 3 years.
So,
Do you want to see what it looks like if we do adopt the 2015 funding?
sure.
We can pull that up real quick.
No pressure, Casey.
Oh, yeah, I got this.
She's quick.
She's good.
Oh, I thought you were gonna bring it back in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, you got it right now. You're on it.
I already got it in here. I'm ready. You have a surplus of 1.6 million.
If we adopt it, if we get funding. And is that with one officer or two?
I'll throw it in.
We can do 2 though.
Is that what Beth's cuts?
No.
No, he doesn't know that.
That's just with 2015.
About 700,000 deficit in 2031 with 2 officers starting next year.
That's but we'll discuss 2015 at the summit, but by that time, they'll have been in session 2.5 weeks. We can see what kind of traction that's getting. We won't have any answers.
Yeah, the reason we decided to bring that to council at the summit was because we can't do anything about it right now anyway. The hope was that King County would have that all eligibility done by that point. I think they might. I think they'll at the very least move forward with it by that point. And if they still have their conditional certification, they'll just pay the fine. Each jurisdiction can be fined up to $100,000 a year if you don't meet all the conditions. In King County, that's a drop in the bucket for them, so they're okay moving forward with that. Smaller jurisdictions like Kent, that's not good for them. So that's kind of where it's at.
Okay,
The city of SeaTac is also contracts with SCORE, and they're working through the process right now with SCORE also to get through it.
all right.
Just you wait.
So are we good bringing this back then at our next council meeting?
Yeah, I might add for two.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
So just to be clear, what exactly does this council want to see at the next meeting? We'll
Just
get Beth.
Beth's cuts.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
We can do that.
Yep.
All right, no worries.
I got a big old hatchet.
Call me the
All right.
Grim Reaper.
Want to just go through all of the cuts at the next meeting, minus the COLA that we've already kind of decided on, and
I think.
I think it's just a suggestion of what Beth,
just for separate.
yeah. Okay, all right, thank you, council. All right, that concludes all of our public hearings. Let's move into new business. Item number 1, introduction and overview of an ordinance and franchise agreement for Forged Fiber 37 LLC. And we will turn that over to Selena.
Yep. Thank you, council and mayor. I also just want to take a minute and introduce Liz Walker. She is online. She's the applicant, represents the applicant for this franchise agreement. Did she make it? She was in New York, so
She's-
there she
Hello. Yes, thank you.
It's late where she is. So council, tonight is an introduction and an overview of the proposed ordinance and franchise agreement with Forge Fiber 37 LLC, we'll call Forge Fiber, to allow the ownership and operation of fiber optic facilities within the city's public right of way. Particularly for this Forged Fiber relationship, I do want to make one clarity. In my blue sheet, I said that they were assuming operating existing fiber optics from Lumen. It's actually AT&T. But that doesn't really change with the desire that they're asking for. So under the state law, when we have a franchise agreement come to us, we have to listen to it in two meetings, or I read it in 2 meetings. So tonight is the introduction. Depending on how the conversation goes tonight and any council or staff direction, then this will actually just come back to you on the consent agenda for formal approval. So why a franchise agreement? So right now, when a utility wants to come in and utilize our public right of way, and that's everything from the road to underneath the sidewalk, so back a sidewalk to back a sidewalk, they can come in and get a right of way use permit and do that work. Generally, when a large company or an organization or business wants to do a broader, bigger project, maybe it's citywide or a quadrant of the city, then coming in for a franchise agreement, it provides a benefit to us as the holder of that franchise and to them as the franchisees. So the biggest or the easiest way I can think about this is kind of, it's like your NPD, right? You have this contract with them about how they're gonna operate, maintain, and install their facilities. And we have some expectations around what that relationship looks like. So they're different. It's a franchise agreement, but it operates, similarly, if that's a good analogy. Mark's probably cringing a little bit with me right now. But the intent is that the franchise just adds an extra layer above a right-of-way use permit that they would still need to obtain, that allows us to talk about what that relationship is, about them using the city streets or the right-of-way for their business. So tonight we have one for you from Forge Fiber, and Liz Walker, she's from Wireless Policy Group. She represents the applicant in this. They're looking sorry, why am I tongue-tied? Excuse me. They're looking at assuming the AT&T facilities that are currently existing within the city. At this point, there are no new poles, attachments, or above ground enclosures proposed at this time. But that's not to say in the future that they could come in and want to expand their fiber optic network. I'm going to pause there and let Liz maybe do a quick introduction, since she's the applicant, and talk a little bit.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yes, my name is Liz Walker. My address is 7436 South Ivy Way, Centennial, Colorado. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. Selena, you had it correct. The first part, it's Forge Fiber is an AT&T subsidiary purchasing Lumen assets. Yep. So you were right the first time. And this is what AT&T Forge Fiber, their subsidiary, is doing is trying to place work at the local level to put in place the rights to have those assets because the purchase is underway and they will own these assets that are already in the ground and being operated by Lumen. They're purchasing them from Lumen. This is a nationwide purchase. And again, it covers the existing Lumen fiber that's installed, and AT&T, the subsidiary Forge Fiber, will hold those assets, and AT&T intends on extending the service in the future to more homes, and they would do that in accordance with the city's permitting process. But like Ms. Lyons said, the franchise agreement establishes the rights and obligations of the parties, to have the franchise, has insurance obligations and terms and things like that. So it's an important document that they want to have put in place. And I just want to thank Selena Lyons and staff and Don Bondren for all your assistance and for your professionalism and responsiveness. Thank you so much. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Council have any questions for Liz or for Selena? No, it's just pretty straightforward because we already have one franchise agreement with Lumen. We already have one with Comcast. The next 2 weeks, we'll be having someone else come in to ask for a franchise agreement also. Theirs will consider construction though.
Correct.
So this is pretty straightforward. All right, so this comes back to us at approximately December 9th for council consideration. So there are no questions, Liz. Thank you very much. Appreciate you staying up late. If you're in New York, you're at what, 11 o'clock? So,
Yes, 11 o'clock. So thank you. I'm happy to be here. I appreciate the opportunity. So thank you
right.
so much.
Thank you,
Okay.
Liz.
Have a good
Right.
evening. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Anything you need from us, Selena?
No, not anything further. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Next up is new business item number 2 is to appoint a voting delegate for the 2025 Sound Cities Association annual meeting, which will be held in Issaquah. First off, who is going to this meeting? We have Beth, Joe, and I think Debbie and Regan. So we need to have one voting delegate. I am not going to the annual meeting. So I guess, pardon?
Good for you.
I know it's cooking night. I'm missing cooking tonight. Wonder what she made. But so who, actually I could ask who wants to be the voting delegate?
I mean, I certainly don't mind, but it's my first
Regan.
time attending, so I get.
Regan, you're on the SCA board.
I'm happy to do whatever council.
Great.
Okay,
Whatever makes sense.
all right. So is council good with having Regan Boley as the voting delegate to represent the city of Covington at the 2025 SCA annual meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, and this would actually be your last official act on the board.
Yep.
Well, no, you'll have a board meeting in December also.
We do have one afterwards.
Okay. All right, it's been moved and seconded. I apologize. Who made the motion? Beth.
No, Joe.
Joe made the motion. Beth made the second. Okay. Do you have any?
I didn't want to do it, so thank you for volunteering.
Okay. Beth, do you have anything you'd like to say? Okay, is there any?
Whatever.
There
Whatever's
any,
best for the city.
any other comments for or against the motion? Okay, it's been moved and seconded to appoint Regan Boley as the voting delegate to represent the city of Covington at the 2025 SCA annual meeting. All those in favor state aye. Aye. Any opposed? Regan, congratulations. Thank you very much. And thank you for being on the SCA board for the past 2 years. Next up is new business item number 3, appoint a voting delegate for the 2025 Sound Cities SCA board elections. I will be attending that. Is anybody else going to be attending? I can attend it because it's Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's why don't
I am
attend.
happy to be the voting delegate if council wishes me to be.
Excellent.
So moved.
That was- yeah.
Okay. Been moved and seconded to appoint Jeff Wagner as the voting delegate to represent the city of Covington for the 2026 SCA board elections. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor state aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. I might even apply. Yes,
Can you please clarify again who gave the motion and who seconded?
Sean gave the motion and Beth gave this, or Christina gave the second.
Thank you.
It wasn't me.
Mm-mm.
All right. That concludes all of our business for tonight. Looking at future agenda, our next meeting is on Tuesday, November 25th. We do not have a pre-meeting at this time. I don't believe so we'll be meeting at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday before Thanksgiving. With,
Yeah, it's
Pardon?
time for,
Oh,
what?
I may be remote for that, meeting, just as a heads up.
Okay.
So I'll let you know.
I'm tempted, I'm probably gonna be late. We have parent teacher conferences that.
Oh, that's right.
So I may be late unless I can convince parents not to sign up for the last few slots.
We don't
Okay.
have a special meeting, do we?
No,
Yes,
we meet at 7.
one of the few.
Good, because I have, conferences, yeah. Okay.
All right. So is there, council have anything else they'd like to see on a future agenda in 2026? No? Okay. And also, just as a reminder, council, our meeting in December, we will have an executive session. I don't remember the number, but it'll be for employee evaluation. So with that, we'll move into council staff comments. Start with Chief.
No comments tonight. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Ethan is not on. Dawn.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. Selena.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Casey.
I was just gonna mention if we crunch the numbers for lowering the COLA from 3.6 to the 3, and it's right about $1 million over all those years total. So we'd go down from 2.7 to 1.6.
Okay, but that's just,
That's just an
Just-
estimate. I mean, that only works as good until next year's numbers come in and it's 4 or something.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But
great. Thank you.
that's what that is in the forecast.
Yep.
Nothing further from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. Mark.
There's no executive session and I have no additional report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Regan.
I emailed this out to council just before our joint meeting this evening, but AWC is seeking council member candidates to serve on their legislative priorities committee. Applications are due the 19th. I put kind of what they're looking for in that. So if you're able to, please do that. That's a great way for us to advance some of the issues Covington's pushing. If you need any help, let me know.
Thank you, Regan. Krista.
As you know, council typically cancels the second meeting in December, so I'm looking for council consensus to cancel the December 23rd council meeting. And I
Yep.
see consensus. Thank you.
Yep.
No, I want to be here.
December 23rd.
Exactly.
You'll be here by yourself.
I have.
Yep. All right. Thank you. Anything else, Krista?
No, thank you.
Okay, Christina.
Oh. Nothing. Congratulations to everyone. It was a excellent November election day. And good luck in the future to everyone.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
Beth.
We did have our annual, it is now an annual thing, Veterans Day commemoration and flag retirement ceremony. Mayor gave a presentation and we had a guest speaker talk about their service. Weather was gorgeous. It was also, we also took some time to recognize Charmaine Jovanovic Miller with Edlin Yon. There was a post on the Tohomo School District Facebook page last week. Happened to read, and it had talked about how the government shut down. The cemetery was closed for the 8th graders' annual service project of laying 50,000 flags because the flags are stored at the cemetery and aren't accessible. at the Veterans Appreciation Luncheon last week, I let her know about what was going on, and she was able to reach out to Carrie Collins, the teacher that runs that, and she immediately hopped on and started to order for flags on Amazon. So she was able to get them at least 650 flags for them to put at some of the graves at least. And I think they also made it into a service project for cleaning the graves and so forth. So some work was done, thankfully. And so I think it's great that we're coming together, community and networking, to try to continue to support that cemetery and to honor our veterans. And I'm sure that over the coming years, we'll, as service organizations or city, figure out how to continue to do that. And I think there's a lot of other stuff going on, but I don't know where my phone is for me to remind myself. But I will say we do have a JRC meeting tomorrow, and we will start looking at the legislative priorities for that as well. I think there was supposed to be a PIC meeting this evening, I think, with some talk about priorities and what have you, and of course we're here, so that didn't work out. But and then we'll have one more JRC meeting at the very end in December to finalize some of the other housing program funding. But I think that's about it.
Great. Thank you, Beth. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Veterans Day event was great, by the way. I really appreciated it. Weather was outstanding. Last Puget Sound Regional Fire Authority meeting was on November 5th. A number of things on the agenda. The operations, I'd like to just give this update. They said as of November 3rd, they had responded to over 37,000 calls for service. So they just continue to obviously get calls and they're responding. And I think that number continues to go up. So also on that agenda, the board adopted the 2026 budget. So the preliminary budget's $146 million and it's balanced. So that's up from previous years as well. But I think the return on the investment is well worth it. They also approved the purchase of a new hazmat vehicle to replace and retire an older one. Hazmat responses are a unique service and require unique skills and unique tools in order to respond. So that's a good piece of equipment to have. And then kind of one of the bigger items is they're talking about future annexation, most notably Black Diamond, and the need to look at the board's makeup and size. And so a committee was formed to actually look at how we would incorporate those new cities into the board. If you haven't been to the RFA meeting, Krista went. The dais is huge. It's got like something like 20 seats. And so incorporating 2 more cities and potentially 3 or 4 more additional board members, they're looking at how actually we're going to incorporate those in the future. Yeah, squish or something else. So the committee is looking into that. So anyway, that's what I have.
Great. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
Jennifer?
I went to the Human Services event at the senior apartments over there by Cole's Covington Place. And something they suggested, which I thought was a great idea, was, to just take advantage of their existing space. I know quite a few of us have been there for, various things, but they have a pretty large area, their common area where there's, tables and stuff that could just be used by the city to have events and classes for seniors, and therefore the people are already there. It's super accessible. There's not transportation obstacles. And so anyway, I thought that was a great idea and something we should consider for our programming. Like, there's space and there's the target population already there. Let's have an event. And the person that I was talking suggesting even like line dancing. I mean, fun, active stuff, right? So, and then I didn't go to the veterans Day event. Unfortunately, that's not a holiday at my work. But I was able to go Friday afternoon to Cedar Valley's Veterans Day Assembly, and it was very, very well done. And the messaging there from the veterans that attended was just so sincere and heartfelt, and the kids completely were engaged and listening, and it just made me feel very good in the state of, I don't know, current climate of life. So yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Jennifer. Joe?
I have no pick update since that's going on as we speak, so we'll let you know. Hopefully we'll see you in December. I have RTC next week. We have a pretty full agenda. Of course, not adding service to Covington is not on that agenda, but I figure I got a couple more meetings to hound them. So with that, nothing really else. I did go to the Veterans Day event yesterday. It was very nice. My son was not happy to be out of the house. He would much rather have been playing with his friends, but I made him come with me anyways. And so I think it was a great event. And again, yes, perfect weather for it, which was kind of really weird for early November. So that's all I have right now.
Great, thank you, Joe. The Veterans Day event was outstanding, and having Greg Emerson there as the speaker, I thought it was very good. And he even offered, I was talking to him about my girls, and he's even offered to help even talk further about history with them. And they were excited when I brought that up. So thank you for having Greg there. And the they call it challenge coins. Boeing makes one, and it's big. Greg gave me one, and it's bigger than a silver dollar, where normally they're the size of a silver dollar. So it's very nice. So Beth, thank you to you and the Rotary for doing that. I know that's your Rotary's brainchild.
It was Pat and Debbie that organized it, just gonna be,
Okay.
I was just the mouthpiece that day because Debbie was not there, so.
Okay, but it's very, and I just appreciate, not just for that, but the Covington Rotary has done so much for our community. So it's greatly appreciated what the Rotary does. The Veterans Day lunch that Edlin Yon and Charmaine put on was outstanding. And thank you, Beth, also to you and the Rotary for taking that message to Charmaine, and she just runs with whatever she's given. I had the pleasure of meeting with Superintendent Vela and Deputy Superintendent Behringer last week. We discussed the item on tonight's agenda and several other items in the school district, and just how it's not just Kent School District, but all school districts across the state, their attendance is dropping. Birth rates are dropping in the state of Washington, and there's just not as many kids. Hopefully with Lake Point coming on, that'll make a change. You all received an email, I think, but I spoke with Leah from Kentwood High School for her senior project, and her dad came with her, and he is I think he's Army vet. He's a veteran and was over in the Kuwait War, Afghanistan, and listening to, and Leah brought up some great ideas about what to help kids become more, or give kids more options, young adults more options. And we started talking about Lake Point and some of the ideas about what we want. And she's going to help push more attendance. Even though she's a senior, she's going to bring up more about the youth council to other kids at the school, at Kentwood High School. Very, very smart young lady. Her goal is to go to, she's already in Running Start, and she wants to become an attorney to help other less fortunate kids. So that'll be, she's going to do very good with that. Regan and I met with Senator Kaufman today with legislative priorities and listening to what she's working on. So that'll be good to work with her. I know this is out for ways, but the Covington tree lighting's on December 6th, Saturday. I'm assuming Shop with a Cop is the same second Saturday, which would be December 13th, but Wreaths Across America, I won't be at Shop with a Cop. I've been asked to speak at Wreaths Across America again out at Tahoma Cemetery on December 13th. So I apologize for the Shop with a Cop. And then Chamber Board, I sit on the board, and we have our board meeting, our annual retreat. I think Regan will be at that as well next Wednesday. We're meeting off-site. That's enough for me. I've talked. Oh. So this brings us to our second public comment period. Speakers will state their name, organization, and whether they are a Covington resident. Comments are directed to City Council, not the audience or staff. Comments will be related to city business, and comments are not intended for conversation or debate and are limited to 4 minutes per speaker. Is there anybody in the audience? Obviously, no. And is there anybody online wishing to address council? Please raise their hand, Bill, if you'd like to speak. All right, seeing nobody approach the podium, nobody raising their hand. We do not have an executive session. This council meeting is adjourned at 8:26. Thank you.